Hey folks, Mavs Dad here with another review. I'm actually really excited about this one because this is the legendary Seiko Sumo model number SBDC001. This watch has been out for a little while, but this has been the first chance I've had to do a review of one, and I'm really excited. First of all, I want to thank Mark over at Long Island Watch for this review unit. He sent this out for me to take a look at, and I really appreciate it. And I'll put a link in the description field to get this watch on Long Island Watch. And go over there and take a look at it. They're about $500 and really good deal, great watch, great company. Long Island Watch is a really good company. So go ahead and take a look at Long Island Watch if you want to get one of these. Now, the one thing I noticed about this watch, and there's actually a few things. One, this is from the Prospex line of dive watches. And if you notice on the box, it's got Prospex. But if you look at the watch itself, there's no Prospex branding anywhere on the watch, which I find a little odd. There's no Prospex branding on the watch face. There's no Prospex branding on the case at all. And I'm really a little confused why they don't put Prospex on, because this is their kind of their higher end model line of dive watches. So I'm a little confused, but hey, it is a Prospex, as you can see here with the tags. And if you were over in Japan, this would cost you 60,000 yen. But that translates to about $600, but you can actually get these at a discount at most places. But these are really good watches. Again, this is from their Prospex line. And I guess what we're going to do is we'll go over the specifications of the watch, the fit and finish, and my overall impressions of this Seiko Sumo. Again, this is kind of a legendary watch in the dive world, and for good reason. The fit and finish of this thing is absolutely incredible. I'm really impressed. It feels heavy in the hand. It's got really nice polished areas and brushed areas on the case and the bracelet. Really nice finish. And this bracelet is very reminiscent of the bracelet on a black Monster. I think it's almost actually the same bracelet. It does also have a dive extension. Now, because this is a review unit, I'm not going to take all these stickers off, and I'm not going to put it on the wrist because I actually have to send this one back. Mark over at Island Watch was kind enough just to send me this review model. So I don't want to mess this thing up. But it does have a dive extension, just like a black Monster does. Now, one thing with the watch with the case this big, I would think that the bracelet would be a little bit wider. This is only a 20 millimeter. I would think they would probably want to do maybe a 22 millimeter, but for some reason they stuck with 20 millimeter. It's not a big deal, but because it's such a beefy case, I would thought they would have maybe done a 22 millimeter, but it doesn't look weird on the wrist or anything like that. It's just a little bit, as you can see, there's where the case is, and then there's where the bracelet kind of starts. So it's a little bit thin for my liking anyway, but it's not that big a deal. Let's go ahead and get over to the rest of the specifications. It's 44 millimeters wide. It's about 50 millimeters long. It has a Hardlex crystal, which again, I'm a little surprised. You would think something in this price point would have a sapphire crystal, but it has a slightly domed Hardlex crystal, which again, at this price point, I would kind of expect sapphire. If you were to get an Orient, which is also owned by Seiko, the Orient Saturation Diver, which I'll actually be doing a review of that pretty soon as well. That actually comes with a sapphire crystal. But it's not a big deal. I mean, Hardlex crystals, they're fine, they're great. But again, at this price point, I was kind of expecting sapphire. It has a windable and hackable 6R15 movement. You can expect about 20 to 25 seconds a day accuracy. A little more, a little less, depending on how you sit the watch down. If you sit it down with the crown up, it's a little bit less. If you sit it down with the crown down, it's a little bit more. So actually how you set the watch down will determine just a little bit about how accurate it is, which is, it's kind of interesting to know that. So anyway, so you've got the 6R15 movement, you've got a Hardlex crystal, it's a 120 click bezel. This bezel has incredible action. I mean, it is very tight. There's no give in it at all. Very nice bezel action. Turn it back here. What else? You have applied markers. Each of those applied markers has a little chrome kind of a trim around it. They're raised up a little bit. Let me see. If you look down here, of course, you're not going to be able to see that with this video, but it shows the Made in Japan 6R15 movement. Again, 20 millimeter bracelet. with the diver's extension, which is your diver's extension is right there. And that gives you about a 1/2 inch if you want to fit this over a wetsuit. It's waterproof to 200 meters, which is 660 feet, figuring a meter is about 3.3 feet. So you're looking at about 660 feet. Screw down crown at the 4 o'clock position. And again, this is windable and hackable. So you pull it out to its first position, you can actually wind it, pull it out to its second position, and that will change the date. And you pull it out to its third position, and that will change the actual time. I was kind of hoping for a day complication as well as a date complication, like on the Black Monster. I like to know what day it is too. But again, not a deal killer by any means, but I was kind of hoping for a day complication as well. I'm trying to think of what else here. Nice bezel. The markings are printed. They're not etched in like on the Orient Saturation Diver, which again, I was kind of thinking at this price point, you would get some maybe etched markers. Not a big deal. What else here? You have Super Luminova. I'm sorry, not Super Luminova. You have Lumibright, which is Seiko's version of Super Luminova, which is actually brighter than Super Luminova. Lumibright is very bright. If you expose this to light, really intense light for just a few minutes, it'll glow all night with no problem. So nice Seiko Lumibright on the indices. Trying to think what else here. Again, screw down case back with the Seiko Tsunami logo on the back. And if you notice back here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says Air Divers 200 meters. Right there, right above the word Seiko. What else here? You have a luminous pip dot at the 12 o'clock marking. Now you notice this 12 o'clock marking right here on the face, the watch face, has that little line, that indentation. That's kind of reminiscent of a lot of Seiko Sumo, a lot of Seiko Prospect watches have that little, that kind of delineation between a regular watch, a regular dive watch, and one of the Prospect model watches. And of course on the face it says automatic scuba, 200 meters. You can see that right there. And the date window is nicely recessed. It has a little bezel around it as well to kind of differentiate it from the rest of the watch. I really like the fit and finish of this thing. I mean, it feels really heavy in the hand. This is a one solid piece of stainless steel that they carved out. Really nice feel to it. I mean, the video really doesn't do it justice. I mean, it's a very well made watch. Now, if you notice this, the case, if you're looking at the bezel, the case actually rises up almost to meet the bezel right there. So it gives you some protection at the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock points. You can see how the bezel is kind of inserted into the case, and it's kind of like a case guard or a crown guard in a way. But it's basically a crown guard for both sides of the watch on the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Really nice. A little detail you wouldn't have noticed right at first until you took a longer look at the watch. Again, some nice brushed and polished finishes in the case. I mean, there's no doubt this is a very well made watch. Of course, you've got the Seiko S marking on the crown. Now, when I undo the crown has a buttery smooth feel to it. So far as when you screw it in, unscrew it, and screw it in. It's got a buttery smooth action when you're actually winding the watch as well. I mean, it is just really smooth. And if you notice, whenever you pull out any of these screw down crowns, they're going to have just a little bit of play back and forth. And that's intentional, so don't think there's something wrong with your watch. They'll have just a minute amount of play back and forth. And that's just for kind of variations when people wind it and when people screw it back in. You don't want it to be super stiff, because if you try to force it, it's going to mess the crown up. So that's why they intentionally leave just a little bit of play. Really nice winding action. And also with the bezel, like I said before, I mean, it's really smooth. 120 clicks, really smooth action on the bezel. So that's my overall impressions of the Seiko Sumo. Really good watch for the money. For your extra, if you were to say you were to get a Black Monster, I mean, those are about $200 now. For your extra $300, I'm not quite sure what you're getting more with the Prospects with the Seiko Sumo. I mean, it is a nicer case. It is a better finished case. It is a better movement inside. That's probably the biggest thing. The movement is more accurate than the 4R36 that comes with the Seiko Black Monster. So I guess you're really paying for the overall fit and finish of the watch and a better movement inside. Is it worth an extra $300 to bump up to a Prospex line? That's kind of up to you. It is a bigger watch. It's physically a bigger watch. It's got a better movement, and the overall fit and finish is a little bit better. Well, I take that back. It's a lot better on the case. So it's kind of up to you. I mean, it's a personal thing. Go out there, get one, take a look at it, try it out, see what you think. I might actually get one of these myself. I really do like it. Let me just for comparison here, before I go, I'll show you the difference between the kind of the fit and finish on the two. You can kind of look and see. I mean, it's a bigger watch for sure. So you're looking at about 40 millimeters for the Black Monster and about 44 millimeters for the Sumo. So there's quite a size difference, and you can see the fit and finish is different, and this is going to be more accurate. So again, it's a personal decision. I'd say give it a shot. I mean, that's my recommendation. I mean, they're both great watches. I mean, it really just depends on how much you want to spend. So that's really about it, folks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put a link in the lower right-hand corner to remind you to like and to subscribe to my channel. I love new subscribers. And I'll put a link to this to Long Island Watch down in the description field if you want to go out there and get one. And it's a nice watch. Absolutely no doubt that it's a very, very well-made watch. So that's about it, folks. If you like this video, like I said, go ahead and click on like. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. And until the next review, I'll see y'all later. Take care.